Welcome back to the Higher Form Podcast. We're here every week having real conversations with leaders, coaches, and everyday people about what it takes to become your best. We know life will test you, and we're here to share practical tips, tools, and relatable stories to help you build the highest form of your life. Today we were going to have a guest on, but life happened, and that's probably just as valuable of an opportunity for us to talk about how things don't go as planned. So we're going to pivot and just kind of share where we're at in life, as well as just how things happen, and what to do when life doesn't go as planned.
I think it's kind of like a little bit of a life update, a little bit of, life happens and here's how we've adapted and
Yeah.
adjusted in certain things and scenarios that have happened to us. And maybe some of it's relatable and yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the most profound skills that you can develop is the ability to adapt when things don't go as planned.
Well, it's kind of necessary because literally life is always changing, right?
Yeah, but you know how many people are like, oh my God, this changed. I can't do anything about it. And I'm
Yeah.
just going to ruminate on it for years and months. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've heard it before.
Yeah.
I,
That was a good copy example. That was a good impression.
there we go. This might be a little rougher than we thought, but we'll dive in. I think another thing too is like where we're at in life, right? We talked about how things are unpredictable, and I think that comes in seasons.
Yeah.
We talk with clients about this a lot.
Yeah.
Every season's going to look a little bit different. You may be able to like really zone in on something for a period of time, and then life gives you lemons, and you got to make lemonade and figure out a way to be able to navigate what you didn't expect.
Yeah.
We've experienced some of that in our own way recently as well.
Yeah.
And I think that, it happens, and it's about how you respond. A really sad example is we had to put a puppy down recently.
Yeah.
That was,
He got sick pretty quickly and we had to say goodbye pretty quickly and it was really, really hard.
yeah,
I'm still in the grieving process.
yeah,
Obviously that doesn't just like change. This was just about a week ago. So we're really still
fresh.
fresh of adapting to our home life without him there. We had two pups and now we have one.
Yep.
And that's been really hard. It's been hard for our boys to, our oldest, our youngest doesn't really like understand it really that much. I think he notices he's gone, but our oldest is asking questions and, we're trying to process it and answer questions and just adapting to life without something that has been in your life every single day for the last 7.5 years.
Yeah. Even before we had kids, before we had a business, before we even,
Got
really got
married,
married and settled down. And what's crazy about it is just this innate, like, nervous system integration that you have with a pet that has been with you for a long time. Everything from, like picking up scraps off the floor and being at
yeah,
your feet to greeting you when you get home to when
just
you wake up in the
being,
middle of the night and they're like, what's going on? You good? You know what I mean?
yes,
Or
just
whatever,
being a companion in your life. They're there for everything that you experience. They're always around. They always love you. And they're there to be your emotional support dog. I mean,
Yeah.
really. And
Yeah.
he had been for a long time. And,
Yeah, we've gone
um,
through a lot. I mean, everything from, I'd lost my dad in 2019, pretty short notice and unexpected.
yep.
That dog was there for me to go on late night walks, to
Yeah.
just sit by me in peace and quiet. And
At the end of the day, when you're just
yeah,
like decompressing and you're just sitting there like petting your dog, it's just
yeah.
kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah. So we've had a lot of processing and adapting and just mentally working through the stages of grief,
It's crazy how
losing
life works
him.
because I told you this, right? As this was all transpiring, like I had this really surreal moment a couple days before that where I think it was like walking through the parking lot somewhere and I was just like, man, so much is good in life right now. Like I have so much to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy about the way things are unfolding for us. We've worked really hard to put ourselves in a position to build our family, to create a business that had an impact, that gave us an opportunity to live our life the way that we wanted to, and surround ourselves with people outside of our home, but also cultivate this like family of ours. And it seems like that's when things always start to like catch you out of left field,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right when you feel like you're kind of at that peak. And I don't want to say that because I think that I've worked with clients before, and even though it's personal training, it's personal training.
Yeah, you get to know
You get to
people.
know people. I've had clients before that have had these fears of like things are going too good. I
Yeah.
should be like in this anxious state about that. So I don't want to go down the path of saying like just because things are really good means that you should like bear down and prepare for the worst.
But
Uh,
this is where like change is inevitable and
yeah,
change happens, and you have to adapt to life as it goes. And
yeah, and it goes on
losing
whether you want it or
a
not.
loved one, losing an animal, which is a loved one,
Yeah,
anybody that's in your intimate circle is really hard.
yeah,
Yeah, you build a relationship with them, and it's hard that it's gone, you
yeah,
know? And so that's something that we've been going through in our personal life that has impacted our just like mental ability to manage, anything other than the things that just keep us going day to day.
yeah,
Like we've had a hard time just, okay, let's get back into the grind.
yeah.
You're kind of like, and at the end of the day, you're just emotionally drained because you've just been thinking about 50,000 things on top of the other things that you're already thinking about daily.
Yeah, and I'm by
And
no means are we any type of like grieving experts, but I do think that at the end of the day, having some type of like routine or structure in place is healthy as you navigate these things so you don't allow the things that you can control to spiral out of normalcy, right? And to
yeah,
put you in a down a path that not only do you have these things missing or these like voids in your normal expectations of how you flow through the day to day, but what you can control to maintain there, I think is important, even if it's not at the same intensity. And
yeah,
we talk to clients about these types of things because shit does happen. Like bad things happen to good people all the time.
yeah,
We had a client this week whose mother-in-law passed away, and it's like you have to take the time to absorb the reality of those situations. But as soon as possible, even if it doesn't look ideal, getting some type of routine back into place, I think is super important so that you can control what's going to allow you to keep moving forward. Because the saddest part about loss is that life goes on and
yeah,
time's still going to pass.
yeah.
And we have to adapt to those things and create a new normal. And part of creating a new normal is holding on to what is still controllable.
Yeah,
You
and
know
I
what I
think
mean?
it just also helps you mentally process and just work through it as time happens,
Hmm.
right? I mean, because it isn't gonna, you're not gonna like feel okay about it for a while, and that's totally normal and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
But you still have to go about your life. You have responsibilities. We're
Yeah, the
right,
hardest part about this too
like,
as parents is that like we still have to parent and we still have to like when
yeah,
you're
like when
sick as a
you're,
parent or when you're grieving as a parent
yeah,
or when you're dealing with something, it's like you still have to be the superhero that your kids look up to. And
so hard. And they saw us sad, and they still, my young or my oldest is like, "Mommy, you're sad, aren't you? Don't you miss him?" And I'm
yeah,
like, "Yeah, I do."
yeah.
And it's
I
okay
think
that
that's
you do
good though.
too.
Yeah, it's good
And
for them to see that. I was
yeah.
talking to somebody about this the other day who was asking how we were doing and how the family was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, hey, you know what? Like, I think that's good for them to see you vulnerable and to work through
Yeah,
emotions because,
totally.
some people come from a background where it's like
It was
dads
suppressed.
don't get emotional, you know what I mean? Or like you suppress those things, you hide them.
Mm-hmm.
And I could talk like how many times I saw my dad cry when I was growing up. It's probably like I could probably count them on one hand.
Yeah, and that was a different
And it was
era.
a different era,
And
right? And a different expectation or
yeah,
pressure around like what it
yeah.
meant to be tough and strong and present.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's good for you to be vulnerable around the people that you love, especially when you're dealing with it collectively. And
Well,
the
let them know you're
yeah,
human,
right?
and
Like
I go through the spectrum of emotions in certain situations too. And yeah, definitely. So yeah, we've been processing it ourselves. Our children are watching us process
yeah,
the loss. They're processing the loss in their own little way. Children are so different, especially they're 4 and 2. So our 2-year-old just kind of he's pretty young. He obviously notices that something's different, but
yeah,
he's not gonna like cry. It's just different.
yeah,
But our oldest, asks questions or says, I miss him and stuff like that. And we just continue to tell him it's okay. We miss him too. And that's
yep,
totally normal to feel that way. And it's okay to be sad,
yeah.
you know?
And I think as far as other like seasons of change, we're in this unique place with business too, where we work really hard to create a strong foundation and an engine that works without us being at the helm of it 24/7.
24/7. Yeah.
And I was talking to you about this the other day about this shift that I've felt recently where we've grown our community big enough now to where it is like virtually impossible for us to be as involved in people's journeys now
Mm-hmm.
as we were when we were early stages in our business, and how the shift in engagement has felt. And it's tough because like I want to help people. I want to have a hand in everyone's journey, but it's actually better when I remove myself so that I'm not a distraction from trying to micromanage or control things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've recognized recently is a story I've heard another entrepreneur that I follow talk about, where it's like people want to see you win until they see you winning and then they judge you for winning. And I'm not necessarily saying that I like people are intentionally doing that, but it's been interesting because my role here is now make sure the bills get paid,
Yeah.
make sure that we're acquiring new people to feed the opportunities that our coaches are here to help. So a lot of marketing, a
Fulfill.
lot of
Yeah.
sales, a lot of those types of things, and then helping people stay committed and manage the big picture process. But that means I have to stay at a high level.
Yeah.
And what's been interesting about that is I felt like it's been tough because I've had to let go of so many things that I don't really have the like connection with people that maybe I
Yeah,
used to before, you know,
especially when we were first building, we were involved in the day-to-day
fulfillment and
interactions,
services. And
fulfillments
yeah,
and services more than we are
yeah,
now. And that's just a part of growth and being the one spearheading the growth of the business,
yeah.
right? And the way that we are impacting the clients that we have now is our influence on our
And our
coaches
team.
and our team
Yeah,
of people who are supporting those people more directly.
yep.
And the best that we can do is support our coaches and influence them and teach them and coach them, you know, how we want to service people here.
Yeah, and what's best for people, not just
Yeah.
like, hey, I want it and need it to be done like this, but
Yeah.
finding that balance of being able to lead people and empower them, but also keep them within the confinements of what allows us to deliver what
The
we've established,
the
you know?
service that we are
Yeah.
looking to
Yeah,
provide. Yeah.
why do we do things a certain way? And we've
Yeah.
even talked to the team about realigning with our values as a team. One of the things that we did probably about a year ago
Yeah.
was because I had some core values that I just kind of like threw together, and they were too long. They weren't defined by the team. They were things that I wanted, but like I'd mentioned, we've been through this transition where it's not really about me. It's about the community. It's about the coaches. It's about the staff. It's about the team. How can we create this influence and guidance to help people become better leaders? And it takes being a leader of leaders, you know?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we've done is last year I said, I don't want to pick what we value here. I don't want to set our standards by myself. I want this to be a team activity. I want you guys to tell me what you think is important for us to show up consistently, what standards we can hold ourselves to, and what standards we can like collectively follow and align with.
Yeah.
And we did a realignment meeting this last Monday just to say, hey, our team's changed a little bit. We have a couple of relatively new people, and you know the culture is really still feels very strong. But are these 5 things you guys still align with? And
Yeah.
if you guys haven't seen, if your clients and listen to this, I know a lot of our clients listen to this podcast, but
Yeah.
a couple different places throughout the gym, mostly in the offices, we have a little Avexia cultural standards. And the 5 things that are like our standards for the way we operate is number one,
Be a
be a
pro.
pro. Number two is show up prepared. Number three, do the job. Number four would be take care of people. Number five is be an asset. So, how do professionals operate? They show up on time, they're prepared, they take care of people,
Mm-hmm.
they get the job done. Like they all intermingle together, right?
Yeah.
And we have sublines between each one of those. And the goal is to make them simple and easy to remember, regardless of
And
what
be
order it was in.
applicable to all different aspects that the job requires,
Yes,
right?
100%,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's important that because we deliver a high value service that we show up as professionals
Mm-hmm.
and that we respect people's time and we're giving them everything that they're expecting, and that doing the job is like at the bare minimum. If you're feeling like crap one day and life has happened and you can't
Yeah.
expect things, like you still meet the standard, but in every case that you can, you take care of people and go above and beyond the baseline expectations of the
Mm-hmm.
job. And then the asset piece is just kind of like we operate the team as a sports team, right? Like everybody has their own unique value that they bring to the table. And I think it's important for everyone to feel like they have a seat on the bus that allows us to move forward collectively. And that whether it's, you know, their work ethic, whether it's their knowledge, whether it's their specific skill set, their energy, their reliability, whatever it may be, that everybody brings something to the table so that there's no weak link that's obvious, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And everybody has a unique asset that they're the only ones who are kind of known for that on the team. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
for
if you
sure.
want to know this, go speak to so and so,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it gives us a chance to be able to cover a broader
Yeah.
base of what people need, you know?
Yeah, for sure. All that to say is we've built a team
Yes.
so we have the flexibility that when life happens for us, we are able to, you know, take a day or two and step out and regain our composure
Yeah,
so we can come back in and, you know, be able to provide the leadership and support that our team needs from
for
us.
sure.
Yeah.
And I think that was a blessing through this whole process too, is
Yeah.
that it we have built something that's allowed us to get there, but it's just a shift in
Yeah.
collectively where we're at, where
Yeah.
things have changed in our personal life, you know, really aggressively and
Yeah.
recently, but then even the shifts in business have felt kind of crazy too. And we're at that point where I even had a client a week or two ago, like, I noticed there's been quite a few like newer people around here. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, we're trying to expand ways we support people and grow. And
Yeah.
we actually are not really anywhere near our capacity. Like we still have lots of opportunity to be able to fill in gaps in schedule
Yeah.
and have more energy within the community by bringing other like-minded people on board. And the cool part about that is I feel like we've shifted and changed the way we do things to really solidify making sure that as we expand and grow, it actually improves people's experience,
Yeah.
not takes away from it.
Well, because we've been in business for a few years now,
Yep.
right? We've learned so many things along the way of what has worked, what has not, what's the ideal way to onboard new clients
Yep.
into what we do here.
Yep.
And so that's, I think, just a part of us learning as we grow of what works for people.
Yeah.
And I think with all of the changes in our personal life lately, where our business is going and growing and developing, it requires you and I to communicate on like a whole different level
Yeah.
with
Yeah. 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 So I was taking a drink because my throat was kind of dry there. Sloppy, but we're getting it done.
All right.
Communicate at a different level.
Are you gonna hold on to that the whole time? Can you put it down? Okay. So, I mean, I think us going through some stuff in our personal life, business is growing and developing, and we've just got a lot going on there
Yeah.
at all times. It's proven that we have to communicate on just a very high level to upkeep it all. Business communication, personal life communication, especially going through like a grieving, stressful situation.
Hmm.
We've been very transparent about here's where I'm at today. This is where I'm at emotionally.
Yeah.
This is what I can handle. And just being open to communicating effectively so we
Hmm.
can both do the things that we need to do for ourselves, for our business, for our family every
I think
day.
in a lot of ways it's forced us to grow together differently than maybe you would expect. Like these types of scenarios, I think you had sent me a post about this where it was like great relationships and like truly loving someone is going through shit with them and getting better and supporting each other through it.
Yeah.
Like all the lustful, sexy things and
The
like
honeymoon
the honeymoon
stage,
stage of
whatever.
it, like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen when you're going through tough shit
Yeah.
and things that were unexpected and that are intense or heavy.
Hmm.
But it is funny because our what we've talked about has been dramatically shifted. I had somebody today ask me like, "Hey, have you talked with Brittany about this thing?" And I was like, "Oh no, we don't. We haven't been talking about work at home for at least a week."
We've had to separate,
Yeah,
you know, what we're communicating about in different areas of our life because we kind of have to. Because when we're at home, we have two young children. It is very hard for us to even have any sort of meaningful conversation.
well, that's why we've been intentional about scheduling
Correct.
time where we can say, "Okay, we have a babysitter. They're at daycare.
Or
Like,
we
let's
are
go."
going out to like a breakfast on a
Yeah, like
slower work
let's
day for
go
us. Yeah.
connect somewhere for like 2 or 3 hours so we
Yeah.
can focus on things that we want to
Like
or
what's on
need
the
to
agenda? What do we
cover.
need to be communicating about?
Yeah,
What's on the radar? What do we need to organize or plan?
yeah,
But yeah, we've just had to be strategic about keeping up with the communication and all the different areas of our life that we need to be communicating
yep.
about. So I think that's been something lately. I mean, we've always been pretty good at communicating, but even in the last year or two, we've had to really bump up how effective we communicate with each other.
Well, yeah, I mean, like we're learning how to let go of things in the business. We're leaning into where or we need each other at home. We're trying to improve our own fitness and training for specific
Yeah.
things. We're
Yeah. We have our own goals.
yeah, I mean, we're navigating a lot of different things, and I know we've talked a lot before about you have to juggle, you have to this, and it's easy to sit and talk about it, but we are 100% going through a phase of that right now where we've
Yeah.
had to lean heavily into one piece or another. I mean, I think even one of our most recent episodes, we talked about how like you can only be
Yeah.
so successful in each aspect of your life,
Yeah.
and in order to be able to move the needle in one, even when you unexpectedly have to do that and it
Yeah.
wasn't intentional to go that path. We've talked about how it's important to be intentional, but like sometimes things happen unintentionally or unexpectedly,
Hmm.
and the intent is just like really letting go of control in the areas that just don't deserve or don't need your time in that moment. And I know it sounds silly, but even like, gosh, it was sometime last week, right? Like probably my first full day back at work after everything had happened. I think it was like Thursday and everything went down on
Thursday.
Tuesday.
Hmm.
I remember driving home and telling myself, like, you don't need to check Slack. You don't need to check your email.
Hmm.
You don't need to check in on the business line. You don't need to get on Instagram. You don't need any of these things. You need to focus on putting yourself fully into dad and husband and like home mode.
Yeah.
And I literally like repeated it in my head like 5 times on my
Yeah.
way home. Like, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. You don't have to do this. And I think so many times in life we put these pressures on ourselves to be able to perform in all these different areas. And when for good or for bad, life forces you to slow down. If you can lean into it, it actually is a blessing in a lot of ways. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's funny. I was just chatting with one of our clients yesterday, and it's like it when you go through a traumatic experience, a grieving experience, any stressful thing. I even say this about when we go on vacation and we come back. It just puts your life into perspective, in a
Hmm.
different perspective than maybe how you were viewing it before.
Forced perspective.
Forced perspective to view X, Y, and Z a certain way. Think about, oh, okay, what are we doing here? Where's all my energy going? Where should it be going? Where am I at? You know what I mean? It forces you to kind of think about things
Differently.
differently,
Yeah.
and maybe things that you've been neglecting or not noticing, and it brings them to the forefront again.
I
And
mean, even Cooper, our other dog,
yeah,
he was like, he's more of like a sit back in the back, kind of hang out. Like he's not like gonna force himself on you the way that
like our
our other dog
Griffin.
Griffin did. And
Hmm.
just being able to like lean into, he was our first like thing we had to care for.
Cooper, the one that we still
Yes.
have.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one we still have is the first responsibility we took on other than our own individual selves when we moved in together.
Yes.
And you call him our first baby in a lot of
Yeah,
ways. And
100%.
then we have another dog who is more energy and more needy and more in your face. And then we, get married, and then we take on the business and we have kids. And in a lot of ways, it felt like he got put in the back seat, which,
Well, because he is a calmer energy. He just
yep,
kind of hangs out on the side and lets everything else happen around, and he'll jump in when he wants
yep,
to. And now that we don't have that in your face dog around anymore,
yeah,
you kind of notice, oh my gosh, Cooper is really just kind of hanging out on the side, just
yeah. But
right over
it's
here
been, obviously we didn't want it to happen this way, but like it's been good to reconnect
with
with
Cooper.
him
Yeah.
and to really like lean back in and pay attention because we were forced to think about what if he wasn't here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that I had the same experience when I lost my dad, as it was like going into fatherhood. I had a completely different perspective around how valuable my relationship with our boys is going to be because I didn't have that connection
With your
with
dad
my dad
anymore.
anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think that everything happens for a reason. A lot of times we don't understand it, especially in the moment.
Yeah.
But God has a plan,
Yeah.
and I think it's one of those things where you have to trust that there's a bigger picture. And then sometimes, even when it doesn't feel like there is, you just have to like cope with it and find ways to move on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because it may not always make sense or may not ever make sense, but
It
life
never
goes
does.
on.
You
You
just
know what I
have
mean?
to adapt
Yeah.
and move forward mentally,
But
emotionally.
I think that's one of the things that nobody really talks about is that because of how fast paced things are and how transactional relationships feel,
Hmm.
so many people carry this invisible load that we don't even understand. And it's so easy to get pissed off at that person who cut you off in traffic or,
This
you know what I
reminds
mean?
me, I saw this video of it like showed like a drone
I know
looking
I don't, you might have sent it to me. I know
view,
exactly what you're talking
and
about.
it's like all these people crossing our crosswalk in like New York City or something, like
Yeah.
tons of people. And there was like a word or a phrase above each person's head. This person lost their mom. This person just got diagnosed with cancer. This person, it's just like
This
so.
person just got fired from their
So like
job. This
every
person's in a
single,
breakup. This
yeah,
person
it's
just
like
got a
literally
promotion. Yeah.
everybody is going through something at all times, and
Mhm.
you never know because people don't wear a sign on their chest that says what they're mentally processing right now
Yeah.
or what they're going through in their personal life or their
Yeah.
work life or whatever. And so, yeah, it kind of just reminds you like everybody's going through stuff, and you know, be generous and gentle with everybody because you don't know their story,
Yeah.
right?
And I think that when you can intentionally take that perspective instead of having it forced upon you,
Yeah.
it makes it easier to be more grateful and
Yeah.
be more patient and just go through life with a little bit more gratitude and joy of the little things.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, I even talked about how we did that review with the team. One of the things I shared with them was just about like, at this point in my life, I think it is really important for me to make sure that the most control I have is by putting myself in the right environments with the right people, because we aren't guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah.
So how you spend your time is probably one of the most important things. Like, of course, we all want more money and we want more things and
Hmm.
we want to be more fit and we want these other things, but like who you spend your time around, I think this has really forced me to think a lot about, and it just yielded me to be like very appreciative of the community we've built around us.
Yeah.
Not even so much just with clients, which obviously that's a big piece of it, but you and I's tight knit community really is the team.
Totally.
And
Well, we
then,
see these
you know,
people
yeah,
every day
yeah,
at work. And just
yep,
like anybody at any job, it's like whoever you're surrounding yourself with at your work or in your home or your small social circle, it's important to make sure that you're enjoying your time with those people.
yeah,
Because what's the point if you're miserable
yeah.
all the time?
And once again, these things happen in seasons, and you can sprint hard, but when life knocks you off your path,
Mm,
like slowing down and just kind of like being in it for a second, like there's always going to be the opportunity to speed things back up. But just listening to the signs of the things around you, I think, is
yeah.
important, so that you can really tap into what's going to be the most meaningful moments for you and what's going to make you feel most fulfilled and supported, even though fulfillment may look different when
Yeah.
unexpected
It
things
might be
happen.
a half-assed version of it,
Yeah,
right? But at least you're still doing a little something
yeah.
in the direction of
Still moving the needle in the
that.
right
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
In really big picture, it's like we don't have that much control over external circumstances, and
No.
a lot of things in life are definite realities. In the meantime, if we can be more conscious about the decisions we make of the things we do have control over, I think a lot of people will be a lot happier, even though you may feel like, you know, the world's out to get you or you don't
Yeah.
have all your ducks in a row or whatever it might be. So
Yeah.
I just think in the season we're in, it's been really a big reminder that life is short
And time goes
and
on.
time goes on and it goes fast. Because that's the biggest thing is like we're looking back at pictures and all this, and I'm like,
Yeah, we've been looking at pictures a
man,
lot.
time has flown by. Like a lot of the a lot of the things that we had seen pictures of, we took more pictures of our dogs before we had kids,
I
which
think that
did make
happens
sense,
to
right? But like you
everybody.
go back and look through pictures, like a lot of these are from like pandemic to 2022
Mm-hmm.
when we had one child and
Yeah.
we were still like kind of in this new to parenthood phase, which we still are very new to parenthood, but
Only 4 years
yeah,
in.
yeah. And I think it is important too to remind you guys, like we share this not because we're looking for any level of sympathy, but I think it's relatable and we talk about practices and principles and how to be your higher form, and we are human as it gets.
Yeah, sometimes you're not going to be your highest form due to a circumstance that you're navigating.
Yep.
And that's okay because we're human and that's all right. And we'll work on the emotional grieving as we go and get back to feeling more energetic and cheerful, but it's
And
okay to
just
not
finding peace.
and finding peace with it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yep. Just finding peace,
Yeah.
because stability is one of those things that I think, you know, is hard to just like focus on unless you have a reason to be forced to slow down.
Yeah.
And it's
And I,
easy to do all the sexy fast grow
Well, and
quick,
honestly,
hard
you
things,
you do it until something forces you
Yeah,
to slow down, and that's nature, and that's normal, and I don't know if it's normal, but it happens to
I would
everybody,
say it's
right?
normal. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that
no different than like getting in a groove with your workouts and then tweaking your back, and you're
yeah,
like, I was doing something wrong.
yeah,
And this is the world's way of saying you need to slow
you
down and
need to
fix
slow
what's
down.
not stable.
Yeah, yeah,
It could be the same thing with a lot of different contexts of life.
yeah, for sure.
But if this episode felt different, it's because it definitely was. Like we said, the whole theme of this was
Yeah,
what do you do when you have uncontrollable things happen? And how do you pivot on that? And what are some of the examples of ways that we've gone through that, and
yeah,
especially with how fresh some of these recent changes in our personal life has been? We are big on being vulnerable and sharing our story with people because I think it makes it easier to relate to.
yeah,
And I hope you saw some value in that.
yeah. Let life throw you curveballs, and
If you strike out,
that's okay. You get another at bat, you
yeah,
know? Yeah.
yep. I think that's all we got for the day. Appreciate you guys.
This episode of the Higher Form podcast is powered by Avexia Health and Performance, your home for smart training, simple nutrition, and real accountability. Built to help you look, feel, and perform your best. Whether you're just getting started or chasing your next level, visit avexiakc.com to learn more and start building your higher form today.